Hello. For today's topic, I decided that I would go over some tips that I have for you that have just joined Weight Watchers or are starting out some kind of new weight loss program for the year. Hopefully, even if you're not on Weight Watchers, you can glean some tips from this that you also can use. My experience is with Weight Watchers, so that's all that I can draw from. These are not in any particular order, but tip number 1 is lower your portion sizes. When I first joined Weight Watchers, one of the first things I did was to buy a food scale. I was totally surprised by how much amounts of food that I was eating. I knew that normally when I would order a steak, I would normally get an 8-ounce filet, but I had no idea how many points that was. I needed to be eating half that amount. So when I got my food scale, I began to weigh just about everything I ate, especially meats, because I found that if I ate 3 to 4 ounces instead of 6 or 8 ounces, I was almost just as much satisfied. Now, for the first 2 weeks that I was on Weight Watchers, I think that I thought that I was hungry a lot. But really, it was just because I had been eating so much food that my body no longer really knew what hungry was, what hungry felt like. I rarely feel hungry now. Tip number 2, make better food choices. For years, my favorite food choice was macaroni and cheese. And I didn't just eat it for supper. I would get up in the mornings and whatever was left over from last night's meal, I might finish off a half a bowl of macaroni and cheese, cold. When I started Weight Watchers, I realized that that was another food that was heavy, laden with points. So I began to try and find better food choices. Now I've found out that I actually prefer fresh vegetables and fruits, especially for snacks. I find myself, usually for a snack, I'll have an apple, banana, a little bit of grapes, and if I don't have that kind of a sweet tooth, if I feel like I want something a little more savory, I'll eat something like fresh vegetables, cauliflower, grape tomatoes, and just a little bit of a ranch dip that I make up with plain Greek yogurt and the Hidden Valley Ranch dip mix. I found that I actually prefer them over that macaroni and cheese that I was eating all the time. Another thing that I've figured out after all these years on Weight Watchers is that I don't have to have all those sauces and condiments on top of all the foods I eat. I used to use a lot, and I mean a lot, of butter, mayonnaise, ketchup on just about everything I ate. Now, not desserts, but about everything else. I've found out that I actually prefer the taste of fresh vegetables cooked without a lot of sauces. The old me never would have thought that that would have been the way that I preferred it, but it is. And I think part of the reason that it is goes along with the next tip. Tip number 3, change your mindset. I began to, about 2 months before I joined Weight Watchers, change my mindset into what I call weight loss mode. You see, I was tired of always being tired. And I felt like that the only way that that was going to go away was if I lost weight. I was not just overweight. I was more than 70 pounds overweight. That's morbidly obese. So 2 or 3 things helped me when I first started Weight Watchers. Now, some of this is going to sound negative, but this is what I did. I started Weight Watchers in January of 2014. In December of 2013, we had Christmas, as everybody did. There were 2 or 3 pictures taken of me on Christmas Eve that once I saw them, I truly realized how big I had gotten. Not daily, but at least weekly, I looked at some of those pictures. I wanted to make my life better, and so I had to look at that so that I wouldn't forget what I looked like. The day that I started Weight Watchers, I took what I call a before picture. I think that's very important. It helps your mindset. Each month, I started January the 9th. So somewhere close to February the 9th, I took another picture. March the 9th, I took another picture. I did that off and on until October when I reached my first goal weight. Now, as years have gone by, I try my best to take a picture in January. Each year I celebrate the anniversary of when I started Weight Watchers. I think it's important for us to keep a pictorial record of the way that we look. It's not easy to look back at some of those pictures, but I do feel like that I have to, that will help me keep my mind in the right frame of mind. Number 4, which I think is truly important, especially on Weight Watchers, is that I had to track every single thing that I put into my mouth. That is, in my opinion, what makes Weight Watchers a successful diet plan. I hate to use that word diet anymore. In all actuality, when I first joined Weight Watchers, I joined it as looking for a weight loss diet. I don't look at it that way anymore, but I did to begin with. Over the years, because I am involved in Weight Watchers, I have noticed that these other diet plans have a tendency to bash Weight Watchers. And they always say, who wants to track? Who wants to go to meetings? Who wants to weigh themselves every week? And they are specifically talking about Weight Watchers. Well, the reason they say that is Weight Watchers is so successful because of those 3 things. And mainly it's because you have to track what you're putting in your mouth. You have to have some kind of an idea how much you're eating, or you won't realize, hey, I ate way too much last week. I've got to cut some of that out. Daily, we can find out the amounts that we're eating, and you only do that by tracking everything you put in your mouth. Now, as most of you know, I don't go to meetings, but I still feel like that it's very important to get on Connect and watch YouTube videos to help me in my daily and weekly and monthly and now yearly struggle to maintain my weight. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but right now, one of my favorite things to do is to watch YouTube videos. My favorite right now is Let's Get Fit with Sandy, because she goes over each week highlights of the Weight Watcher meetings that she goes to. It's very educational to me, and a lot of times I need it to give me a kickstart for my week. Tip number 5, figure out some way to hold yourself accountable. When I first started Weight Watchers, my husband started it with me. And so I had a built-in accountability partner. It made it a lot easier for me to eat well because I knew that the person sitting next to me was watching me eat everything that I ate. A year or so into my Weight Watcher journey, he backed away from Weight Watchers. He had lost what he wanted to lose, and he just wasn't as committed as he once was. So I had to search out to get that support and accountability. Luckily for me, Weight Watchers had the community page. Then later, they developed, included in their app, called Connect. That was a big help for me. Well, one day when I was on Connect, one person that I was following mentioned something about YouTube. I decided, well, I'm going to check out YouTube. Early on, I found about 25 people that I really enjoyed watching. And they were on a weight loss journey just like I was. This was after I had put a few pounds back on, and I had to get more dedicated to Weight Watchers than I had been for about a year. It truly helped me. I attribute a lot of the secondary success that I had with Weight Watchers with Connect and YouTube. I want to share just a few of the YouTube channels that I watch. I started out watching about 25 different YouTube channels, and most of them were Weight Watcher related. Now, I guess I've tried to come up with all the ones that I regularly watch now, and there's about 5 or 6 that are Weight Watchers related, and 3 or 4 that are not Weight Watcher related that I watch pretty regularly. The 5 Weight Watcher related YouTube channels that I watch are, I've already mentioned, Let's Get Fit with Sandy, Chitchat Paddiwack, The Skinny on Weight Loss, Bee's Journey, and N is for Nurse. I've watched a lot of these women since they started their YouTube channel. There were a couple of them that already had a YouTube channel. Sandy was one, and The Skinny on Weight Loss, they already had theirs. But the others have started their Weight Watcher channel since I started watching YouTube. I really enjoy them. They have a lot of good tips. I have found several different kinds of recipes and ideas of what to eat from these women, and I highly recommend all 5 of them. 3 of the channels that I watch regularly that are not Weight Watcher related are Michelle from Tennessee. I really enjoy watching her and all the ideas that she has. Flav City with Bobby Parrish. He is more of a clean eater, and so I really enjoy watching his and the tips that he has. And lately, I've really been addicted to a physical therapy team named Bob and Brad. They give me a lot of tips on stretching exercises that I need that help out my legs and my hips, which I have a lot of problems with, and they're funny, so I enjoy watching them. Well, that's my tips for today. I hope you can find something that will work for you. I'm going to go over them one last time. Number 1, lower your portion size. Number 2, make better food choices. 3, change your mindset into weight loss mode. 4, track every single thing that you put into your mouth. And number 5, figure out some way that you can be held accountable to your weight loss journey. I hope you've enjoyed today. If you have, give me a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, and always leave a comment below. I sometimes struggle to know what kind of topics to use for my YouTube channel, so any questions you have, feel free to ask them. I'll try to answer them the best I can, to the point to where maybe I can come up with a good topic for another video. Thanks again. Goodbye.